Hi everybody, it's Terry with Terry's Creation Station. We're ready for another monthly tutorial. This month we're going to be doing a welcome wreath. It's going to be a deco mesh, which you don't see me doing a lot of deco mesh, but I know a lot of people do love this style. So we're going to use this welcome sign and build the base and add some florals. So I'm excited to do this for you, even though it's usually not my favorite, but I'm beginning to kind of embrace it. So let's put the sign aside and we're going to build the base first. We've selected just a 15-inch, and this will end up being probably bigger than 24 inches when we're finished. And the base is going to be just a value mesh, and the reason is because we're going to end up covering it with a lot of other ruffles and things that will go on top of the value mesh. So it's mainly just used to make a base, and use a value mesh, you'll get better use of your money. You don't have to get the real expensive mesh to build your base. Like I said, it's usually not going to show very much anyway. So let's open this value mesh, and it's just in white. And of course you will have a PDF with all the supplies for this project. Excuse the rustling. But we're all these supplies came from General Wholesale in Vivian, and they've got them available for you. So I usually just drop the mesh on the floor. I'm going to fold it over just a little bit and then start with our gathering. Now we're going to use the poof method, which is just a basic technique that we use for deco mesh. You can start on either row. Some people like to start on the bottom and then move to the top. It doesn't really matter. Let's start on the bottom. So we're just going to put the deco mesh in there and give it a twist. You just need one twist, and that's it. Now we're going to keep the poofs kind of small. I normally will do a 10-inch poof, which is right about to the next, you skip one and go to the next tie, and that's about 10 inches. But we're going to make it even smaller because I don't want to, the ruffles we're going to use are going to increase the size of the design, so I'm going to make them a little bit smaller. So this is going to be not quite 10, but just maybe 7 or so. Again, none of this is going to really show. It's just a base. So let's just take this around and make these baby poofs, is what I call it, because it's not a full. You can take it to the 10 and then back off of it just a little bit. And then once you see where we put the ruffles and how it builds up the height of this, it's going to make more sense. And I hear my pick machine just a rattling from me shaking my table. So if y'all hear that noise, that's what that is. Okay, so I'm going there, but I'm going to back off just a little bit. And you see these poofs are small. Now if these poofs were showing, I would make them bigger, but they're not going to really be showing. Hope everybody's having a good day and you're enjoying watching. This will be a simple project to do for Easter or spring. And actually this type of wreath with this sign will carry you into the summer as well with these bright colors. So we're going to make these little poofs. They're not my favorite, but because we're going to add more volume, I needed to keep it small. And all we're doing is just covering the frame. So keep that in mind. But if you want to do a full 10-inch, just go to the next tie. And that gives you a 10-inch poof. Actually, my pick machine keeps me awake, so if I'm starting to get a little snoozy, it starts rattling like an alarm clock, keeps me awake. Just me and my crafting, that's all that matters. And you can see how quickly this goes. Okay, one more. And then we'll jump up to the top row. As I said earlier, all these supplies will be available from General Wholesale. They'll ship them right to you. And Sandy and I picked these out in the store. Put together the ribbon, and of course the inspiration was the sign with those daisies. I showed it to my sister today, and she goes, that looks really kind of retro, like back in the 70s, you know, when we had the hippie era, and they were using those daisies on cars, and we even had them inside our lockers at school, little decals. So looking at this base here and making the small ruffles, it looks real wimpy, you know, kind of puny and not very interesting, but we're going to change that. And the value mesh is, just like it says, a value. You're going to get it at a really good price because it doesn't have any foil in it. No real design to it whatsoever. It's just a solid color, and it's going to give you just great coverage for what we're doing. Where the real design comes in is when we start adding the other mesh, which is this is all new mesh coming up that we're about to use with the ruffles. Some beautiful colors for spring and summer, and I think you're going to really like what you see. Now if you mass produce these, you can make these bases and have them ready to go and fill. You know, put a movie on or something fun and just sit there and run poofs all over the frames. Now I'm going to finish it off by putting another poof right in the one we finished or started with on the top row. And I am going to untie it and put that together just because I don't want it too bulky on top. And then tie that off. Okay, let's just cut that. Still have quite a bit on this roll that you can use for another project or a gathering bow, something like that. Now I move my tail to the inside. Pull it through, and then I'm going to put a zip tie right there. You can use a pipe cleaner or something like that, but I just like to kind of anchor it down so it doesn't poke out on the back. And I'm just going to zip tie that close to the frame. Okay, we can trim this even a little bit more. All right, we've got our base. Let's cut this off. And it looks puny, I know. Ignore the puniness. It's going to get really pretty. It's going to get better. Okay, I did some pre-cutting just so that we would save time. And everybody knows how to cut mesh. I hope you have a cutting board and you use your rotary cutter. The ruffles that I cut were 30 inches in length, and it's 10-inch wide mesh. These ruffles are pretty thick, so that's why I made this base so small. So I've got the first three. I'm going to stack these three, and this plaid is a new product. This is a really good, it's not a value mesh. This is a premium mesh. And then in the middle of it, I put a solid iridescent. I don't know if you can see kind of the sparkle in there. And I'm stacking these one on top of the other. And we're just going to pick a ruffle, pick a tie, and we're not going to really have a need to go in every single one because these are so big. And you can kind of work with them just a little bit and pull them around so you get the best look. Okay, so if we were to go right to the next one, it's going to really be a little bit too much. So let's just skip one and then go over here to the next one. Now, here's how I'm using the new multi-purpose board that Probo the Hand came out with. And you can use that. It's got holes here and here on the other end for other things. But this is going to hold the ruffles. So we're going to start with the pink on the bottom. This again is a 10-inch by 30-inch cut. All right. So I'm going to let the ends curl in, and then I'm just going to ruffle it from there. Okay, this is where this comes in real handy because you just push it down on there and then you don't have to hold it until you do the next one. So now we're going to take our yellow, same thing, you're going to roll the ends just so you get those raw edges off and out of the way, and then just gather through the center. Stack it right on top of the other one. Then we're going to take our green, which is under the pink, open it up, and then just roll that ruffle in. So we've got our three colors, and they're stacked one on top of the other. Pull it off. They're all ready for you to go into the next tie. We're going to skip one and go right to the next one. And you can see already how full this is getting without even using a really big poof on the wreath itself, on the frame. Those are really nice. Okay, some more pink. Same step over and again. Roll, gather, place it in the holder. Now I've seen people use clothespins to do this same thing, or some kind of clamps. So if you don't have the multi-purpose board spool holder, you can make do with other means. And I like the ruffles facing up like this instead of down, curling down. But it's whatever your personal preference is. If you prefer them going the other direction, then do it. You're going to want to put your own twist on this anyway, so. But you can see how full this is already getting. And by rolling those edges in before you start ruffling, it keeps it from fraying. So we're going to skip one, go to the next. You could use two colors. I wanted this nice and full, so I went with the 3. And I love this basket weave look. It's brand new. Like I said, it was just coming out this year. And I remember when we saw it at market, it was so different. And it feels good when you're working with it. So this just gives you an extra set of hands to play with and work with. And my hands are tiny, so it takes me a little bit more effort to do all this ruffling. Maybe that's why I'm not really 100% crazy about deco mesh. It's just a little harder for me to work with. But I like it. I mean, I've grown to like it better than I used to. Okay. They need a machine where you just stick this in there and it just does it for you. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, so we're going to skip a tie, go to this next one. And it's so thick, you barely have enough of your twisty to put there. Tie it together. Let's see. This pick machine's gonna make me lose my mind. So let's put it over there. And I have 2, so we're gonna have to move them both. Now, no rattling. Do things like that bother y'all? Okay, we're gonna skip this tie right here because there's gonna be a bow there anyway, as it turns out. So let's ruffle this one. Now you could, if you want to get fancy, you could alternate your colors and say, for instance, start with the green on the bottom and then go opposite of what and every other one do it that way, but we're going to keep it the same all the way around. And I did go ahead and, and pre-cut all this because we want to get to the meat and potatoes of what we're doing. Okay, lift it straight off. Keep them stacked as much as you can. Then we're going to come right here and come down to the next row. I like it already. It's going to be really cute. Okay, here we go. Pink. Let's cut that. Pink, yellow. I'm going to be dreaming about this tonight. Pink, yellow, green. Pink, yellow, green. Kind of reminds me of ice cream sherbet, the rainbow. Or maybe I'm just hungry. the raspberry and the lime. And okay, so we're going to skip one and go to the next one, which is right here. And these are some thick ruffles. This, the consistency of that plaid is a little bit thicker than some of the deco mesh. I'm going to use my pliers to get a good twist in there. Okay. Now on the bottom row, we may need to go in and fill in just a little bit because I'm seeing that we've got just a little bit of a gap here when we skip everyone. So we may fill in with some when we get finished. So it'll be nice and full. So I'm going to skip one. Well, I'm not ready to do that. I got to do this over here. I was getting ahead of myself. Now, there have been times that we would cut 10-inch and then do 3 different ruffles at 10 inches, but, you know, doing the 30 inches gives you, that keeps you from the fraying on the edges. So we'll see how much we have left over, and then we'll kind of fill in these spots. But I want to make sure we've got enough to go around first. Okay. And we may put ribbon there. Who knows? We'll be creative. How's that? I cut all 10 yards of each color, so I think, yeah. This is what's exciting about flower design, floral design. You never know what's going to happen. This feels so good. I wonder if this is the one that's jute. One of them was jute. Kind of press them down, get them stacked. Come over, skip one. All right. Sometimes when you have to solve a problem, like say for instance, and it looks like we may not have enough mesh to do every single one on the outside, but it opens up a door of opportunity for you to be creative in a new way. And had it all been perfect and worked out so that every single one had mesh in it, then you would have lost that element of design that just was kind of spontaneous. At least that's the way I like to look at it. And you never want to miss those opportunities to do something new. So Mardi Gras is about to be over, and we're heading into spring and summer. Easter's thrown in there. And before you know it, it'll be time for fall. And then you know what happens right after that. Christmas again. All right, let's do this one. Trying to keep this mesh away from my shirt because you know it will snag your clothes if you're not careful. Okay, so we've ended up, let's see how many we have left. 1, 2 pink, 3 pink. 1, 2, 3 of the green, and 1, have no idea why, we've got 2 of the yellow. So we've got, let's count our openings. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we can do, since we've got 3, we can put a pink and alternate the colors. Just a solid, or just one in those places. And then we may add some ribbon. We'll be creative. So we're just going to put one pink one right there in that in-between space. At the end of the day, nobody's going to know. So we are going to add some florals in here, so. Now, that's perfect, see? We just filled in that one space. This has just got one ruffle. And it looks totally fine. So let's alternate. Let's do a green. This is a poofy one. Oh my goodness, it's so poofy. But it will make a good show on a door for sure. You can also put this on a table and put a big bunny in the center. You can make a darling centerpiece. Okay, there's another space filled. Let's use a yellow next. Gotta tame it down. Relax. Okay, now we're going to do pink. Actually, there's a lot of pink right here. See, there's a lot of pink right there, so I'm going to use a green. Pardon me. Fighting these colds, it's just about taking over everybody. This is a big. It's going to end up being bigger than 24. Okay, let's put a yellow over here. And then that will be it. So let's just take these, put them over here. And this will be our last one. All right, so our base is finished. Look how pretty it is, nice and full. Let's go ahead and add our sign so we'll know, how to place everything. Look at the bow. I made a Terri bow, of course, and there it is. I think maybe let's go ahead and add the bow first. See, I can change my mind. And here's what I like to do. Instead of using this wire to secure it to the wreath, I prefer to use this tinsel rope. I've got a big drawer under here with a lot of it in there. And I follow the same path of the wire. And then just put this tinsel rope there. And take it right through. Now we're not going to smash it into the wreath base. I want it kind of sitting on top. There was a place I was going to say that the bow could go. Right here. I don't know why, but I did land on it. So just take it underneath. If you can get through all the mesh. Find the back. You have to feel around to get it. But this is just a simple Terri bow. You can go to YouTube. I have one on my channel, a tutorial. Regina Sellers has got one as well. So I've just come to the back and I'm just going to give it a twist. Okay, and then you can just tuck those wires in. No big deal. And that is a pretty bow. And it's got the coordinating kind of flowers that we have in the sign. And again, all these ribbons, I will give you the SKU numbers for them and you can purchase the exact ones in your kit, in a kit. I mean, you could, it's not like sold as a kit, but you can specify, and Sandy knows what ones to pull. Okay, so there we have it. And now we'll put the sign on. And instead of putting it right in the center, I think we're going to put it kind of off. Like here's the left side of the bow, or the wreath itself. And this is going to just kind of be on the side instead of in dead center. So I really want it to pop out. Okay, for this, I'm going to use just some white pipe cleaners. And there's holes already in the sign for you to attach. So we're going to just push this through, and it's a perfect size for a pipe cleaner. Or some people call these chenille stems. So I'm going to go through to the frame, and I'm going to find in all this mesh and ribbon, I'm going to find a tinsel tie. And we're going to just tie this pipe cleaner right to the tinsel tie right there. And I don't want to pull it too tight, I don't want it smashing everything that we've worked on. It just needs to sit there on top. And then we're going to go to the bottom, do the same thing, come down through the frame, find one of the ties that are there that's closest to it. Let's make sure it's level. it's hard to work on this thing with it flat because I don't see it as well when it's up. Let me actually move this one. See, if you haven't ever learned anything else from me, you can learn this one thing. You can change your mind about where things go. Always, you can change your mind. If you don't like it, just move it. Nothing is forever in design. And this one I even tied it on a couple of different ones. Now take your mesh and kind of camouflage it, okay? All right, so here's my left side. Okay, let's go right here. You can even take the tinsel tie and go to the back, but sometimes it's not long enough to do that, and you get a different effect. You're going to get where you'll smash it, and that's not a good look. All these tinsel ties are tight. Okay. Get my tools. Okay, so we have our sign on there. It's not going to go anywhere. And from here, we're just going to fill in with some florals. And I've got some picks that we picked out. These are fun. They're kind of like little tassels. And I've got 3 of those. I've got 4, I think, of these pink little flowers. Aren't they cute? And then 2 of these pom-poms. Now we're going to cut this stuff up. I never leave things the way they are. Those of you that know me. So I'm just going to rip these apart. Save these sticks. If you throw it away, I'm going to be mad at you. Because we need those for other projects. So I am going to pick these, but we'll do it all at one time. And let's move this. We don't need it. Okay. These do come in other colors. These tassel picks. So from here, we're just going to be embellishing with some texture items, the picks. And these also, I think, come in other colors as well. Did y'all know when you open these, if you've seen this, it's got Chinese lettering, which I can't read. I think it's newspaper. But that's being resourceful, using your resources. We don't even take the newspaper anymore. Everything's so digital. You get the news on the internet. This whole project, you probably will not even need glue, to be honest. You just are going to be able to put everything in there securely without it. I guess my thing with deco mesh, if I'm going to make one, I want it to look different. I don't want a sign, ribbon tails, and a bow. I want things to be a little mixed up. And when you add these flowers, it gives texture. Whoa. And that seems like a lot of floral, but I promise it's going to work. I do have a stem cutter, but it's over here to the side, so I haven't used it for this project, but it is nice to be able to have that. Okay, let's start putting these in. And I will get my pick machine now that I need it. And let's just pick away. And I'll show you why. Otherwise, you're going to have to glue this stuff. Oh, this is the one that's empty, so let's not use that one. I always have a spare one loaded up, ready to go, right? So we just put a pick on the end of that, and then when we put it into the wreath, we're going to stick it in where the twists come together. So for instance, you know, where you see a twist, we're going to push that through the center of that twist, and then carefully go to the back of the wreath and find where that went through, and then we're going to crimp it back on itself. Do be careful, because these things will cut you. They will cut you. You will bleed. You will scream and holler. I'm telling you from experience. Okay, so we're just going to go around to each tie, kind of go into the middle. And you don't even have to use glue. Just use these picks and they're going to grab. Well, I think I'm going to go more interior. So I'm just feeling to the back, feeling where the point of that is. And then I'm just going to crimp it back on itself. Okay. So let's use these little pink springy flowers all around it. Oh, that one didn't work. Sometimes it's hard to find the end of it because it's so buried. You could take this same design if you're more comfortable with doing the ribbon tails. You know, you can always do that, but this might be a way to mix up your design style and do something a little bit different. It's already looking good. Certainly nice and full. And we can even come up here above the bow. Put a few. Yep. Okay. A lot of this is just feeling your way around. It would be hard to do this. I keep wanting to put it in the glue, but it's not necessary. If you don't have a pick machine, this might be a little difficult to do. You could then just glue everything in, and it'll stick to the mesh itself. This is a happy design, and if you put it on your door, your guests are gonna think, well, this is a happy place to come in. Just make sure your family's not arguing when they walk through the door. Okay, let's see what we got. Put a few on the outside. And then I'm just kind of staggering them. See, I'm not really putting them right in a row. They're a little more random placement. So, okay. These were 4 bushes of these little pink flowers. And we're just going to fill in with the others where needed. But you can see how your eye changes the direction that it looks at this by adding the texture. If not, it would be just a flat, round, you know, not much interest. And you can tell this white, and doesn't really show our base. It was just a way to build up the other ruffles. Just this section here, and then we'll move on to a few more picks. And you know, even for Easter, you could work yourself a little bunny in here, and it would work through Easter, and then you could take that off after such a short season, you know, holiday anyway. So you could sell that as an option with or without the bunny, like an add-on. The bunny is extra. Okay, see how cute that is with all the little flowers. And I think 4 of these picks that was just about exactly the right number, as it turns out. I've gotten through so far without, I shouldn't say anything. I'll probably get poked now that I said something. So you don't always have to do ribbon tails. I know we kind of get stuck in a rut, and sometimes we'll do that same style over and again. But venture out, do something different. What's the worst that could happen? I mean, you would think that you might not like it, or it's too hard, but see, I'm showing you how to do it, so it's not hard. Okay. All right, so we pretty much have good coverage on that all the way around. And it just added a lot of texture and movement. It gets a little bit of movement going on. Let's add a few of these yellow ones around for just some different interest here. Start up under the bow to tie in that yellow in the bow. These are kind of like those tassel earrings that people are wearing these days. Trying to find it. Where'd I put it? Ah, there it is. Okay. So let's see, I don't have a whole lot of these, so I'm going to be kind of stingy about putting these in here. Maybe kind of around the bow. If you could get some little daisies too, like this, little white daisies, those would be cute in there. And would tie the whole look kind of together. You know, flower power and all. Okay, let's put this one here. So I'm just kind of going around the bow itself to give it a little more oomph. Did I just cut myself? I think I did. Well, I won't be working if I'm not bleeding. I'm not working hard enough. So we've got the yellow there. Let's put one more underneath. Oh, I'm injured. That's exactly what I told y'all not to do. Okay, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's scatter these kind of around the sign. We did them around the bow, so let's do them around the sign. And when picking out your elements, like the inspiration for this wreath was the sign. And it's kind of a retro, whimsical, colorful, happy sign. So you want to kind of incorporate that mood into your wreath. As far as picking out your ribbon colors. But I've already picked out all the ribbon colors for you. All you have to do is buy them. Okay, maybe one more right here. And there's really not a whole lot of room for much else. It's got a lot of stuff going on. Okay, where are you, little one? There you are. And we have one more left. Let's see, where can we put that? I don't want to leave it out. Maybe up here on top where the bow is. We'll make that a feature. Now, on these little pom-pommy things, I'm gonna glue them in just to give you an idea that you don't have to always put a pick. Some of you don't have pick machines, and I want you to know that you can do it. So all you're gonna do is just stick it in your glue pan. Find the spot that you want to push this in, and make sure it's touching the deco mesh. Okay, so you get good contact with it. And that's all there is to it. You know, put a good amount of glue on there. And again, I'm kind of highlighting the bow area. Coming down, and I'm doing this on the back row. The other picks were on the interior row, and this one is on the back row, back here. So let's review real quick while we're finishing up. We did smaller poofs than a normal 10-inch poof on the frame. Then we added the ruffles. They were cut 30 inches. And we stacked 3 different ones on top of each other. And then we added the sign and the bow. And then we started adding these picks. And that's basically it. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. And I think one more and we are done. Take it home. List it on your Etsy. Sell it, sell it. That's fine. find a cute spot for this, maybe right here. Okay, how about we put it on a door and you can see it a little better. Good idea? It doesn't weigh a lot, but the volume of this thing makes a big statement for you. All right, let's go over here. I have a door kind of all ready. And it's quite poofy, so we're gonna have to find the hanger. Oops, wrong way. This is a poofy wreath. Well, I think it turned out really cute. I'm surprised a little bit because making it down on a table is usually not my preference, but I like all the whimsy with the picks kind of going around. What do y'all think? Do you love it? I love it. So colorful. All right, that's it for this month's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, please send me a message or post in the comments underneath the video in Vimeo, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. You will get a complete supply list for General Wholesale, and everything in this wreath was purchased there, so you can get it all in one place. Okay? Until next time, I'll see ya. Bye-bye.